Welcome to the Fezza Garage. I'm Justin and this is YouTube's most seriously average car channel. Now today I have some news, so I'm going to share that with you. It's going to be a short video, no driving or anything today, just share some stuff. When I kicked off my channel in January, I mentioned that I'm not really interested in new cars. In fact, new cars tend to really bore me. And so I didn't really have any interest in buying a new car at all. The BMW was going to go and it has gone now, so there's no M4 in the garage. New cars I just find very expensive, a bit dull, they're just getting faster and faster, and I just thought, it's just not really, nothing floated my boat. Apart from a couple of cars. So there were a couple of cars I thought, okay, these are interesting. So one of those was the Lotus Emira. So I thought, this is the last of a generation, it's going to be the last petrol engine, which is really sad to think that. The last petrol engine Lotus sports car, because they're all going to be electric after that. And I thought the Emira looks lovely, it's such a lovely looking car, and I thought that could be a really nice track car. So, because what I was really after was something that I could use on a track and sort of enjoy day to day as well now and then, but also be able to really just take it on tracks. And I think it's because I'm missing having, so the BMW was pretty good on track, really good fun, very fast. But I was also probably missing that track aspect, but the practicality which I had with the Focus RS Mark III. So I used to go everywhere in that car, track it for hours and hours. It never gave me any problems, apart from when the engine blew up. But that was nothing to do with the track. So I sort of think I just missed that whole practical side of having a performance car. And I'm not interested in BMWs or Audis or Mercedes. They're just not brands that I've ever connected with really. And yes, I did enjoy the M4, but it was just that experience and that was it. The Lotus Emira, I thought, interesting. But then I thought, actually, they're quite expensive. You look at over 100,000 euros for one. You could just buy better, a second-hand Exige, and have huge amounts of fun on track with one of those. So sort of looking at second-hand Exiges, and I thought, oh my God, I've already got two-seater cars. I don't think I need another two-seater car. This is not a good idea. There's no practicality involved in any of these decisions. But there was one car I kept coming back to, which I thought, okay, this one is really interesting, and that's the Honda Civic Type R, the new one. Now, I went to Honda about a month ago, and I sat down with them and I said, can I possibly order a Civic Type R? And they said, no, you can't have one. You basically couldn't order a Civic Type R. They wouldn't even allow me to place an order, nothing. They said, well, because there was an allocation, it's all sold, it was very small, and there's no more cars available. And we can't let you place an order because firstly, we don't know when you might get it. And also because what's been happening is that people have been buying them and then reselling them at a premium. And so Honda's not very happy. That's in Spain. I don't know if it's happening in other countries, but it looks like Honda's not happy with what people are doing with these cars at the moment, basically just using them to make a profit. And I was like, no, like, you know, I'm a proper petrol head. I just want the car so I can go to tracks and enjoy the car and obviously use it as a daily sort of car. So anyway, so I did my pitch, so they wouldn't let me order it. But he took my details down, and then last week, out of the blue, called me on Monday morning and said, we've got potentially a car for you. I was like, what? He said, yes. There's an allocation of 10 cars, just 10 cars for Spain. There's, I think, 6 white and 4 red, and they're all carbon packs. And I was like, okay, let's do the order. So immediately sent across a deposit, placed an order, and he said, well, it doesn't quite end there because now we have to send this off to Honda because they will need to make a decision whether you're allowed to have it. And I'm like, really? So basically they're trying to get people to buy it who aren't just going to resell it on the second-hand market and make a profit. They came back to me a couple of days later and they said, good news, you've got one. I was like, really? And I thought, okay, so how long is it going to take? Are we looking at a year, 2 years? And he said, no, it should be here around June or July. So it was completely out of the blue. I wasn't expecting it, and it's happening. So I'm really excited about it because it's one of those cars where, I mean, I've always loved Hondas. I don't know, always loved Hondas. The engines, just the reliability. I just love Hondas. I wasn't so keen on the previous Civic Type R, the FK8 model, because it was a little bit out there with the styling. If they toned it down a little bit, that would have been really interesting. And that's exactly what they've done with the new one. So the new one isn't really any faster or anything. It is more expensive, but then everything in the world has gone up in price. So that's just how things are. But it's not that much quicker. They've just refined all the bits, all the details on the car. And all the reviews I've watched, and I've watched nearly all of them now, the reviews are really, really positive. And you know that it's one of those cars that you can happily track for hours and hours and hours, and it's just going to be fine. It's not going to break down. It's going to be very reliable. And I'm really excited to be getting it. Because I think I've had this like void in my life after the RS Mark III left. And although I enjoyed the M4, it wasn't quite the same. I've always been more of a hatchback type person, hot hatch. And okay, these hot hatches are very hot and very expensive. They're not like the old style hot hatches like the Mark I that I've got outside, which I love that car. And I did explain in the last video, if you watched it, that car is great and I love driving it. It's amazing, really good fun. Just as a sort of a daily car, it's quite hard to drive, and it's practically a classic because you don't see them anywhere, and I feel like I'm destroying this lovely classic car. So I wanted to use it a little bit less, but have something that I could go to tracks, and Spain's a big country and there aren't that many racetracks, and when the racetracks are very far away, so you have to travel quite far to get to each one. And I do want to try different tracks. I want to get out there more, doing a lot more track days, but I want to try different tracks. And it just means that you have to travel quite a lot. And sometimes, like, my kids like coming to track days as well, and my girlfriend, so it's like, if I have a two-seater, it's not going to work. I need a practical car that I can actually take for track days. And that is one of them. So, really excited for that car to be going. They said June, July, they can't be more exact than that, but that's not far away. So, oh, it's exciting. So the other news is that I finally have my Aprilia RS660 in the garage. In January I sold my Honda CBR 500R. It was just a bit lacking. I think it had like 47 horsepower. This one's got 100. It's a completely different beast. I don't know if you're into motorbikes or not. I've always loved motorbikes. I've always had a motorbike, some form or another. And this is just next level. It's a really good, it's a 600. And although it's not quite the 600s of old, these are, in fact, let me show you. Come on. So here it is, Aprilia RS660. It's a special one. It's a limited edition bike because you can see the stars and stripes on it. It was to commemorate Aprilia winning the Twins Cup in America. And they did an awesome job, just trounced all the competition. And so they did this special bike. This one, you can see here. Oh, if I turn the camera properly, number 1368 out of 1,500. So they only made 1,500 of these. Very lucky to get one. There aren't any more available, not in Spain anyway. And as soon as I'd seen this bike, I desperately wanted it. It's taken a while to get it here for various reasons, but I just love it. It makes an incredible sound and it's just really, really entertaining bike. So I might do some videos with it. I know a lot of you probably aren't into motorbikes because you've told me, but this is a beautiful bike and I'm so happy to have it. So there we go. That's the update. There's a couple of things that are new. The Honda will hopefully be here June, July time. Let me put you back on the stand. Now, some of the eagle-eyed amongst you might have seen that the Lamborghini is not here. That's having its brakes done. I'll give you an update on that shortly. Obviously really excited about the Honda coming. It's like I haven't been this excited for a long time. I don't know where I'm going to put the Ford because that's not going to be used as much. I'm going to put that a little bit away for a while and just use that for a fun blast at the weekend and stuff like that. And obviously the bike, I use the bike a lot, so the bike is really my daily now. Unless I need the car, I just always take the bike. And so I haven't had a bike. I sort of had a gap between having a bike since having a bike in January and not having a bike until now. So I think that's why the Ford was also getting used quite a lot. And now that I've got the bike, I'm sort of not using the Ford much really until I actually need a car. So I just go over on the motorbike, just so much easier and so much more fun. There is something else arriving soon. It hasn't got as much horsepower, it's got 150 horsepower. I'll tell you about that on another time. Anyway, hope you're all well. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye.